Hi, Sandra. Thank you so much for being here with me.
You're
My
welcome. You're
my name
welcome, Angel.
my name is Hannah. For those that are listening in, I'm the director of international programs at Sage. I'm here to chat with Sandra today about her life, her work in activism, and as a drag queen in South Africa. And I'm just so excited to have this opportunity to speak with you and learn from you. So, Sandra, why don't we start with having you introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit about where you were born and what your childhood was like?
Hi, my name is Sandra Dee. I'm born and bred in District 6. And then from there, we were, the forced removals in the apartheid era. We had to move to the Cape Flats, where I'm an active community worker. But let me tell you about my childhood. My mom had a house in District 6 and in Greenpoint, which is Ebenezer Road, where the traffic part is down the road. They used to call that place Doc's Cottages. I discovered myself when after I was brutally sexually abused by 4 Muslim boys. I didn't run home, I ran. After that, I ran straight to Somerset Hospital, which was around the corner from Greenpoint. And then they said I was naughty and I got a hiding because I couldn't talk about the sex. So after that, this one guy was doing it to me. I was 7 years old then. He was doing it to me all the time until I was 11. And then I couldn't take the pain no more. I said, yeah, no, I'm a woman. I might as well drag. I started dressing up like a woman and I ran away from home. I ran to Sea Point. Where I became a prostitute from the age of 11. I was on the street of Sea Point, and at night I used to sleep on the beach, at the bottom of the beach in Sea Point. I was there for about 3 years. And then one night I went with this guy and he discovered that I was not the girl and wanted to kill me. So he gave me a hiding of my life. And I think that made me stronger to be a woman. And then I started staying here, there, wherever, until I was about 17. And then I got a job at Linda of London at the Mount Molson Hotel as a shampooist. From there, I went to work for a guy called Ashley Hayden in a hairdressing called The Mob in Adley Street. In that time, I went, that was the apartheid years. And then I met Errol Arends and Walter Gold, Mangold. And today he's got the Walter Birds. And yeah, that's what I've been through. And I was a prostitute. But in that same time, a friend of mine said to me, Sandy, see that you can shampoo so nice. Why don't you come work for my friend in District 6? I was about 12 years old then. Then my friend said to me, shampoo. Like I did at London and all that places. And then one day he was drunk, Patty. And then one day she was drunk in District 6 in the salon, Burmese hair salon. And then this gentleman walked in and he asked for a haircut. And I said to myself, it's now or never. I cut that man, say, beautiful, the shape of the hair, beautiful. But on top was rough, ho, ho, ho. Then the man asked me to show him the mirror, and I pushed the mirror down, but he can't see the back. And he said he's coming tomorrow to get there, to see the haircut. After that, I never looked back. I started haircutting and started hairdressing. And I was a hairdresser. At that time, we used to get paid like 17 Rand for the week, Monday to Fridays in the 70s. And yes, in that day, I fell in love in that time with a beautiful guy. We went out for 5 years. But in the day, I was at home with him, and at night, I was a prostitute. But in the same time, I started working also as a stylist, not qualified. And here and there, I tried my luck. And then somebody said to me, come, let's run to Joburg. So I went to Joburg. Oh, that was hell, because they were really anti-gay. I used to play a role of a woman, and I did cabaret also in the nightclubs. And then I came back to Cape Town, that was in the 70s. And then a woman asked me if I could do a show for them. And I did cabaret, where I imitated Liza Minnelli and Shirley Bassey. And I went to this hotel at It's called Raffles at the President Hotel in Sea Point in the Apartheid era. And then after that, there was a Catonian Hotel, which is in Adley Street. I mean, in Strand Street. They opened this beautiful hotel, and there was this guy called Roland Browse, and he had a model agency. So he was doing a show, or pass out the radio with his models. And then they asked me if possible if I could do the mining. And then, of course, I worked in the Constantia room at this hotel. And from there, I never looked back. Then I used to be a cabaret artist at night, and I used to work in the day as a stylist. Then I went back to Joburg, and I became a qualified editor in Joburg. And yeah,
And we're now in the 1980s. Is that right? So when you moved
yeah.
back to Joburg, it was the 80s
No, in the
or still
80s.
the 70s?
No, 80s. In the
Okay,
80s.
80s.
That
I
is I
want
went
to
back to.
pause, Sandra. There's so many things I want to ask you about
You're
of what
welcome.
you mentioned. But one of the things for the listeners here, because the listeners of this video will be from all over the world, they will not
Yes,
necessarily just be from South Africa.
yes.
So for those that are listening to Sandra's story who don't have maybe you're not familiar with what apartheid South Africa, what Sandra's referring to, just to provide some context for Sandra's story. I want to pause and note that apartheid in South Africa was a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination enforced by the white minority government under the National Party. This officially began in 1948, which led to a series of laws that restricted the rights and freedoms of non-white South Africans. The dismantling of apartheid began in the late 1980s with the release of South African civil rights activist Nelson Mandela, which I know you knew Nelson Mandela, Sandra, and we can talk about that in a bit, and the holding of multiracial democratic elections in 1994. So I don't mean to interrupt you, but just so that folks who are listening to this call who may not be familiar understand the context that you are living in and that you're speaking about.
Yeah, in the apartheid era, if you were nice shoes, if you were gay or trans woman,
Mm-hmm.
and especially when you wore false bus, the
Mm-hmm.
cops would stop at you, especially at night,
Mm-hmm.
and they ask what's your name, and then they tell you you're not a woman. Now we're arresting you for masquerading as a woman. And the Afrikaans word is vermomping tot ontig.
Mm-hmm.
And try going to jail for masquerading.
Mm-hmm.
I was sentenced to 6 months, and then again 3 months, and then I was put out of the court. They don't ever want to see me again. And then I met Nelson Mandela. While I was in Portsmouth, that was in the early 80s, 1981. And I had a fight with one of the warders, which I was in a cell opposite Mandela. I can't remember. But I remember them bringing, because we guys were put on a special place. So you're not in that place. It was right, like 4 stories up, but you have to walk, no lifts. And then they kept me in this isolated room because we dressed like women. They put Mandela also in that room because he had to go to hospital. He was taken to private hospital Constantia, and then they took him back to Robben Island. In that time, it was not a joke. If you were non-white, I remember I was about 16 or 17. There was this person, Cupid, well known in the gay community at that time. She was also from District 6, and she had a drag ball, which was at a club called Embassy, Derek's Den. And she had this drag ball, and I remember going to that drag ball that night. It was beautiful. And coming out of the drag ball, the police started looking for me. I think I was 16 or 17. And then they said, looking, I said, what are you looking for me for? They said, come to the police station. I'm dragged. And then what they did, they said to me, your mom is here. I said, fuck her, I'm not worried about her. They said, is it? There she is. They opened the door and there she comes out, she had everything. And so what they did with me, they gave me a hiding. First they said, ma'am, is this a boy? Because this can't be a boy, this is a girl. They said, no. She said, no, take his clothes off and see. When they discovered Johnny, they gave me a hiding like hell, you know? They really gave me hiding. From there, they took me to the bus home. How embarrassing. I had the tights on underneath my frills and things. I had the tights. I took the dress out and I had the tights with the top. And I had to take the bus with him home to the Cape Flats. About a year later, I said, "Man, I'm not interested. They cannot come now again." One day I came home and they said to me, "Oh, you better dress you like a little boy because these the GG Fox, which is a welfare, those in the apartheid years." That was 1970, something in the 70s. And then I said, "No, man, I'm not going to wear pants like them. I'm going to be who I am. I'm Capricorn. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm 60 or 70, I don't remember." And I went down like that. My mom says to me, "You must remember one thing. I was adopted, eh? I am adopted. So this is a mother that reared me because my own mother wasn't there." So she said to me, "You must dress like a boy because why? The welfare is waiting." I said, "I'm sorry." So I went down to this white fox with a GG, which is a welfare. You know, it's the apartheid years. And I walked like that, and my mom said to me, "Walk properly." And I said to myself, "It's an hour or never." And I walked like this, you know me. As I came to the car, the woman said, "I know how you, Stephen." I said, "I must be honest with you, my name is Sandra Dee." My mom said, "I don't need super beans." I said, "No, the truth is the truth. It's now or never." I said to them, "You can't take me to a men's, but if you do take me to reformatory, take me to a girl reformatory." They said, "That's impossible." And then they said, "It's fine, I must go." And then they said to Mrs. Lane, they said, "Mrs. Lane to her, I'm so sorry. Send the child for a section because it's a superior woman." Yeah. So that was part of my upbringing. But I was on the list to go for a section in 1981. But when I saw what they did to the girls, you know, those who were guinea pig. My
Right.
one friend was done, she had a sex change. They cut the thing off, and then it looked like eggs. It was a cut with
Yeah.
blade. That was the lips. It was terrible. I said, never ever to do that.
Right.
But I like it. I had lovely past, but slowly it's going down because I'm about 30 years without hormones.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, that was the apartheid years.
Yeah.
And but I was so lucky in the apartheid years because I want to say this.
Okay.
Oh, you know, I was a prostitute. So we were hang out by a bar called Harry's Bar in Harrington Street and Constitution Street. And then one evening I said, "No, I'm going to go home to get dressed again because I want to go tonight to the club called the Crawl." And I said to the girls, "I'm coming, I'll see you now, I'm going to go home." Then I stood by the castle in the heart of Cape Town. I stand by the castle, hiking a lift. I saw this beautiful black car, big black car, coming past me with a flag, you know, the old South African flag. And he came with, he stopped and he took off his cap and then I discovered he's a minister of, he's some minister, Henry Schumann. I won't forget him because it's the truth. I think he was the minister of transport. And then he came back, he said, "Hi, darling, how are you?" I said, "Fine." He said, "We're going." I said, "I'm going to Hanover Park." I brought him to Hanover, I showed him all my friends. And it was finished, and he made business.
Mm.
So he gave me an 800 rand, which was, you know, that was that time was a lot of money. And yeah, that's the things I've been through.
Yeah.
But I've been
Sandra,
through other that. Eh?
right, absolutely. And my next question, just given everything that you shared, and you and I talked about this the other day, is I always ask people in these conversations what strategies or support systems helped you maintain your mental health and your physical health during this time, especially when you were incarcerated, when you experienced violence from police and community members. Um, and your response to me at that time was you really found strength in yourself. And that, like, can you talk a little bit about what that means for you, sort of staying true to yourself despite all of the violence and hatred that was thrown your way during this time?
So what's the extent?
Oh, I think that we lost connection. I just
Yes,
wanted to
yes,
ask, yeah, we lost connection. I just
yes.
wanted to ask you a little bit about what what gave you the strength to stay true to yourself during this time, despite all of the violence and hatred that was instigated against you by both police and community in the
And the
state?
community.
Yeah.
Number one, I must tell you this. then we fought in the 70s. They formed a hairdressing only for gays, and they were international in the District 6. From there, we went to Manenberg. In those years, if we go play netball, there will be a few aunties that's very nice, invite them to our houses, to their houses, for a drink. But then the going home story, the gangsters or the people will stand on the corner with stones, and they will just throw us with big, big stones. I remember one day they hit me with a golf, you know, the golf thing. Even under I still got that flat part of here. That's why sometimes I think I'm not a bit normal because of the things I went through in life. But I must be honest with you, it was very hard in those years, but I wish it can come back. Because you know, you must remember one thing. People like me, open the doors for these young queens that doesn't respect us, which is the truth. That's just one thing I must be honest with you, you don't respect. But one thing I'll be honest with you, in those years, we went through hell and back, but we survived. Thank God I'm sitting, I'll be 67 this year. I must thank God I made it so far. You know, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so
It's
much to
truly
talk about.
incredible.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about there. I mean, one of obviously, what we have talked about a lot before is the importance of building relationships, not just of people in different countries, me here in the United States, you in South Africa, but also
Yes,
building relationships in community among older and younger members of the
yes,
LGBTIQ community. And you have shared with me something really beautiful, that part of why you love working with other older adults in
yes,
our
yes,
community is not just because they deserve the respect and they're the pioneers, but also because of your grandmother and your relationship with
yes.
your grandmother.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, could you
That,
talk a
yeah,
little
that
bit
is what
about,
happened.
yeah, your
Um,
grandmother?
you know what happened was, like I told you, I was adopted. And this lady that adopted me, her mother, my soul is in peace, Mrs. Lind, Johanna Lind. She gave me love. I never had love in my life. She gave me love. And because of her, I opened up a senior club. We are known as the Fairy Godmother Community Project and Senior Club. And we're 10 years now, March month. We'll be 10 years in existence. And I'm going out there looking for sponsors to give them a beautiful outing. You know, I don't know where I'm going to get that. Somebody will give me a tour. So I've got that. I've got my seniors. And then what I discovered was 10 years ago, I also like to help the youth in matric. So I collected dresses and I got this organization called Princess Project. And the lady from Princess Project contacted me and she said, this is what you like. I said, it's my passion. So now I'm doing that as well. If a child is in matric and they don't have money, I help out what I can. If they got the money, they can give me like 100 or 150. That money I take, I put it in the box, and once a month I anyhow to take my elderlies out. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then I'm also a hairdressing coach for an organization called Yes. I'm underpaid there, to be honest. They give me as a hairdressing coach 1,500. What can I say? I don't do it 1,500. For me, that is electric money. But anyway, that's part of life. So
Right.
I'm suffering, but I'm a survivor. And I
Yeah.
thank God I'm a Capricorn. We survive.
Yeah. So, you've mentioned, I just want to talk about some of the concerns that you see of the older LGBT community that may not be visible to younger people. I think when you're a young LGBTI person, sometimes you forget about the older adults in our community and their unique needs. You work with older adults, you are yourself an elder. What are some
Yeah.
things that you want younger people to know about aging, getting older?
Respect,
Mm,
discipline. I feel that the youngsters of today must remember not all, but I went to jail for masquerading as a woman to open the doors for them of today.
mm,
But there's no discipline. Some of them is
exactly.
fine, some of them is not.
Right, right.
Use of them, they just think of themselves. They don't think of the next person.
Yeah.
But I'm not one. I pray for them because why? I'm been through the murder, you know.
Hmm.
Like there was a lady, Sophia de Fay, and she came and she made this film, To Yell and Back. You must go on the thing, look for that film. To
Yeah.
Yell and Back, Sophia de Fay was Sandra Dee and my friend Samantha Fox, which is 2 years or 3 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So people come, make money about us and give us a 5 cents and they're gone.
Right.
That's what I did with QP, because I remember while she was alive, she never received no money. I was living in Joburg. 17 years ago, I came back. The first thing I went to go look is where's QP? And QP was in an old age home in Shawco in Kensington. And I went to go speak to them. I said, I want to give a show in her honor. And I had a show in her honor where we made money.
Yes.
It was,
Yeah.
QP was star of the show.
Wow.
You see? So
Yeah.
the youth of today, I'm
Yeah.
honest with you, they don't know. It's part of life.
Right. Right. Are there, so I hear all that, and I'm also thinking there's a lot of young people today who are also really scared to come out and be themselves and be free. Do you have advice for them about staying true to
Yes.
themselves?
Also life. Like you get a Muslim, the Muslims, if they got a gay person in there, it's very sad. I don't know how to leave home or they'll suffer the consequences in their houses. And about those that want to come out and be strong to yourself and be open. This is what I am. But in most cases, mothers don't, families don't accept their children. You must come to Cape Town and see what's happening. We have shelters here. They are lucky to have shelters. In our days, there was no shelters. When I ran away from home, the shelter I had was the beach. Under the beach, I saw they close those holes now at
Yeah.
Seapoint Beach. I used to sleep there. 7 o'clock, we're down there. We go around looking for food, whatever. But also we could prostitute. We could do our things.
Right.
But like the youth of today, lots of them is on the street. I feel they're very sorry because they live in this place. Some wash, some don't wash.
Mm.
I was now in the company of a few. There was about two that were smelling, but I couldn't tell them anything. I feel them sorry
Right.
because it
Right.
brought back my memories
Yes.
when I was 15. I'll be 67 this year. God's been good and He carried me through.
Yeah. Yeah. What does your community look like today? Do you have, I know you are involved in activism that you support older and younger LGBTIQ folks, especially
Yes,
transgender women and other drag
yes,
queens. What
yes.
does having close friends in your life that are also older, also have shared experiences, what does that mean to you? What do you do together? How do you spend time and bring each other comfort and joy?
What I basically do is because of my seniors, on a Tuesday, every Tuesday, I have my club. Our color is grey and pink. The pink is for cancer. So my seniors I've got is from 65 upwards.
Oh, 65
And
up is the age. That's the age
the
limit
age
at
group, yeah, because
65.
I
Okay.
have my seniors, which is just about all ladies,
So you're
only
barely
ladies
there,
here.
67. Okay. Yeah.
So I have a function twice a year or so, or thrice a year if I can afford, and I bring all my gay friends to come and sit and enjoy and have a meal with with the elderly. Yeah, that's what I do. I
Beautiful.
now then try to get some, and like we're having another gay march in the first of March, and I reach out to the gay march people, and then they're giving me 30 comms for these girls to enter for free.
Mm,
So far I got 20 girls. The others I must use who really
yeah,
needs a ticket to me. They can go.
that's really wonderful. And
Mm, but
we'll link out Sandra too when we post this interview to all of the different projects that you're involved so that everyone listening to this call can follow the links to the Fairy Godmother Project to all of the activism and the work you're involved in because I want people listening to be able to see your work online as well and some of your pictures because you have beautiful photos um,
uh,
of
have you
of your
got it?
activism. I have them.
Have you
Yeah.
got
You've sent them some of them to me. Yeah.
Who gave it to
Yes, you've
you?
sent them to me on WhatsApp. I have some of them. You can send me more, but we'll post them.
Yeah.
Just because I think it helps illustrate some of what you're talking about, especially your work in the community. Um, I have just two more questions for you before we close. And again, appreciate your time
Yes.
as always so much.
Yes.
Um, as you look back on your life and you think about, well, I suppose I'll put it simply. What do you hope your legacy will be? How do you hope people remember you, both LGBTIQ people and then society in general? How do you want to be remembered when people think of
To
Sandra Dee?
be remembered, you remember respectable, to be respectable, disciplined, and also what I did for my elderly, because
Yeah,
I do a lot for the elderly. You know why I do things like you must remember, our mothers, especially in the Cape Flats, are there, their children and their great grandchildren take their babies and throw it on them. On pension day, the mother has to send a pension with for over to and the children and the grandchildren. Where the mothers go, the children mother go on drugs. That's why in my meeting every Tuesday we have a prayer for the mothers that leave their children at their grandmothers, which
mm,
is terrible. And they also only come home on the day the mother gets pension, take from the money and she's gone. So
mm,
that's why I've got strict rules now. I'm working with social development because I get cross.
yeah,
Because if my granny was alive today, I would have given her everything. But she's not here. She was more like a mother to me. And they gave me love.
yeah,
I never had love when I was young. But I'll be honest with you, when I became 18 or 17, I fell in love with a boy. I was in love with him for 7 years.
wow,
And then I ran away. When he got married, I ran away. I didn't want to be there. To Joburg, I fell in love there again. Thrice, in and out of love. I had it all. So now at my age, I don't have love anymore. It's like a pick up a hit and run.
oh no.
Part of life, darling. It's like a hit and run.
Oh my gosh.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers, cheers. Okay, so before we close, Sandra, I know this isn't the end for you and I. I'm really grateful for your solidarity and your friendship, but for those listening, this will be the last kind of end of the conversation. Is there anything you want to say before we close today that you want to make sure is captured or communicated on this interview before we make it public?
Like I say, discipline the youth, man. That's all I want from the youth, discipline. And be nice to the elderly. This morning I took a taxi. I took a bus from Nova Park to Stockholm waiting. I went. This beautiful elderly girl, about in the 40s or 50s, got up and says, Oma, there's a seat for you. She even thought I was a woman. You see, God has been good to me. I
Yeah.
played my role right up till today. So
Yes.
today, I just want to say I had a Miss Legend competition where it's once a year, and my sponsor was Atando.
Mm,
And Atando's the two friends, James and James Otando and Colin, very nice people. They were there for me. And I also want to thank Gender Dynamic for always being there
yeah.
because, I'm going out for something and there's also a triangle. But I want the other gay organizations, especially around the world, to help the Fairy Godmother out. And we need funding, man. Because you must remember, as long as I got my organization, I was never funded by government. Not once.
Right.
I try. So we need
Yeah.
funding, please. If you're out there, please think of the Fairy Godmother.
Thank you.
And
And we'll link out to the fairy godmothers, as I said
uh,
in this interview. I also want to thank on what you said to Gender Dynamics for helping facilitate this conversation. Really, really appreciative um,
yeah.
of Gender Dynamics. And we'll also provide links
They've
to
always, they've always
Hannah's
been there
work.
for me.
Yes.
Since I remember them for 10 years, they've been there, even since my elderly.
Yes.
Because you must remember, I never got funny money from nobody. I could
Mhm.
come to Gender Dynamics because they were in Woodstock,
Right.
and I would ask Liberty, the chair of Liberty,
Yes.
I used to ask her for donation, and she would say, make a plan, please keep Sandy. They even gave me a laptop twice, second hand already they gave me. So
Mm.
God has been good. So everybody out there, please give help to the elderly. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much,
anyone.
Sandra. We'll stop the recording here, but you and I will stick on.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening. And please look for the links at the bottom of this interview for more information on Sandra's work and gender dynamics as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my angel. If you need me, call me.
I will. I will.
Yeah.
We're always calling each other, so I will.
I'd like to
Right.
see the video when you're ready.